So, welcome everybody. I'm very excited here because we are at the European Commission today and we can learn a little bit about the European standardization policy. And I actually got two people of the Commission here. We got Sophie and Gabriella. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here.
Yeah, no, well, same for me, and I'm looking forward for me and also for the students to learn a little bit about standardization. And well, first maybe you can tell a little bit more. You're at the European Commission, but where you work at the Commission, and say a couple of things about yourself.
Okay, so I will start. I'm Sophie Mueller. I am responsible for standardization in the European Commission and the head of unit of the so-called Standards Policy Unit. And we deal with everything where policy and legislation interacts with standardization and how we can support our policy ambitions through standardization.
And I am Gabriella Sestini, policy officer in the unit of Sophie Mueller, especially dealing with the high-level forum on European standardization. I am the coordinator, and I have the pleasure to cooperate a lot with Rudy Beckers on education and skills, for example, and other files that are relevant for standardization.
Yeah. Now, so we're just learning that we do have a standardization policy. We care about. Why do we care as Europe, as the Commission, about standardization? What is the political relevance of this topic?
Yeah. Well, standardization might seem a little bit technical and geeky, but in the end, if you look at what we do in the European Union, we, for example, create the single market. It's a common marketplace across 27 member states. And from a very practical point of view, if you want to put a product on the market to have a common technical language, a common standard, from Finland to the Baltic states, Italy and Portugal. This is, of course, a huge lever and facilitator for everybody. And this is why we are very keen on having European standards incorporated in our policies and legislation.
Okay, clear. And now we talk about technologies. What are kind of technologies important to you now, but also what do you think the next 10 years the Commission will be looking at in terms of technology? What is going on? Where is the action now?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about how European standardization worked in the past, you go in your kitchen, you put on your kettle, a European standard makes sure that it's safe, it doesn't explode in your face, you have your hot water, etc. However, if you read the news, you will read about artificial intelligence, you will read about clean hydrogen, sustainable batteries, climate adaptation challenges. And we are already today looking very much at, when we adopt legislation, how we then technically implement this legislation through standards. So we can have the most beautiful law on artificial intelligence. If we do not have the standards underpinning how we will implement the law, and then how the legal compliance officer in a big company can also cross-check that they are compliant with EU legislation, or the market surveillance officer in a member state checks that really the hydrogen installation is compliant with EU law. If we don't have these standards, we will fall short of our policy ambitions. So we are very much in the mindset of green and digital transformation challenges, but we're also in the mindset of building a resilient EU economy where standards also play a role, because we are increasingly in a geopolitical landscape where basically all our economic operators and political partners around the world have understood the power of standardization. And we have a lot of Chinese actors, American actors, and also I always call them new kids on the block from Africa and Latin America, who really understood now the power of standardization. So we also want to be prepared for these global challenges and, be well positioned.
So we're not the only world region that now realizes the relevance of standards.
No.
Gabriella, you just talked a bit about the high-level forum and that you reach out and work together with other parties. What are kind of the main technological areas that you see there that are on the radar for the next year? What do these organizations talk about?
Well, first of all, the forum is a space that put together all the stakeholders concerned by standardization, the policymakers, the industries, the societal stakeholders, and academia, like you. And it was created because there was the need to have a space to dialogue, to contribute together. And concerning the technology, for example, this year we started with a work stream on quantum, as Sophie was saying, is very relevant. And we have already a work stream that closed at the beginning of the year on data interoperability that is at the base of the traffic of data for different sectors, administration, health, space, communication. And now we are going to go out with the standardization request. What else do we have under the forum? Clean hydrogen,
All the
artificial
topics of the
intelligence.
future we try to capture to be well prepared. Yes.
Current, I think there's also like cement or other things that
Low
we
carbon
Low
cement.
carbon
that's high tech,
cement.
but we care about.
Of course.
The smart and sustainable cities. I mean, the forum is working currently on 16 work streams under green, digital, and resilience, and 3 thematic horizontal analysis. And the work streams can be sectorial or horizontal, like educational skills, fundamental rights, inclusiveness.
Nice.
And I think the most important thing here is that really all the stakeholders come together. Because this is the beauty about standardization. It is really an inclusive undertaking, so to speak. Everybody comes with their expertise. Everybody works together on solutions. And especially if you're interested in maybe even making a change for the future, this is where you can really bring in your added value.
Yeah, so you talk about making a change. So maybe you, as a last question, maybe you can also want to give any message to students in Europe. I mean, in terms of standardization, what would you say?
Well, my first message is we need you, because we only have the best standards if we have the best people also working on them. Standardization is really about who sits around the table and who has the best expertise. And if you care about an issue, you can get involved, whether it is new technologies or even if it is about safety. I mean, we're now also working on standards to make the social media space safer, you know, or climate adaptation. We're looking at standards to prepare our railway system for the future temperatures in the world. You know, these are very concrete issues. And the nice thing about standards is everybody has a voice around the table. And it's actually, I think, quite a fun process, because you build a little community and you can do something real, very concrete and real.
Do you want to add something to that, Gabriella?
Yes, please. I would like to add a message to the students. Don't be scared by the standards. Whether you are an engineer or a lawyer, they are always relevant and you understood the importance. At the beginning of my career, for example, I was working in an industry manufacturing electronic device, telecommunication, and I had to be responsible for the implementation of the directive of safety and health at the workspace, and decide which kind of personal protective equipment buy for the workers. And thanks to standards, I could rely on high safety level and the assurance that those products were compliant with the requirements of the EU legislation. So this was my first experience, and I wish I knew before about standardization. It would be easier for that. And then what else? I come from the consumer protection, where we care about especially to vulnerable consumers, like, for example, children, because they don't know how to move, they are not able to read instructions or the pictogram for safety. So from the point of view of an engineer, it's very challenging to imagine the behavior of a child and to prevent dangerous hazards. It is very important to project a product in a correct way. So for toys, for example, the compartment of batteries should be not accessible to children. Well, I have plenty of examples, but I think it's enough like that. Thank you very much, and continue to be interested in standardization. We need you.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you so much for making the time to talk with us today and to our students. And I hope I will be seeing you soon again.
Thank you so much.